You're home without a warrant? Let's see how sticky this gets. Let's go, y'all.
With a recent decision that we need to talk about, I got to update you on this. William Case versus State of Montana. It applies to all of us because that court unanimously said that the cops can come into your home, barge into your home without a warrant, without probable cause, with none of the stuff that we've needed for several hundred years. And I'm talking everybody agreed. Justice Kagan agreed with Justice Thomas on this. So let's talk about how did we get here, folks? How are these cops now able to get into your home without anything? Well, I'll tell you what happened with William Case. His ex-girlfriend called the cops, called 911 and said, I'm afraid he's going to harm himself. I'm really worried about him. And to prevent that harm, I can't say certain words, right, on social media. So to prevent him from harming himself, the cops barged in.
Boom.
But when the cops barged in, some shenanigans ensued, and William Case got charged with some felonies. And his defense attorneys said, like I would say, hey, you do realize this is the United States of America. Y'all can't just barge in.
Now, I'm going to pause it. Now, pause it real quick. Fourth Amendment, y'all, protects us against unreasonable search and seizure. So for those who are not in the U.S., Constitution protects us, especially at the federal level. There are state laws that also, you have to abide by within your area and so forth. But Fourth Amendment, so probably don't get to that. Cassius Pay, did you have anything to add before I continue to let him cook?
No, I mean, like people get swatted and all that kind of stuff. This is those types of items which make our liberties a little bit more sustainable, and especially through our judicial system at the Supreme Court level, it kind of stripped away a little piece, right? Like taking the rind off of a piece of fruit. So that's where the concern comes from, because now people can essentially make up any BS type of reason to say, oh, well, I thought that, we can just barge in. I'm in my drawers. Is that a reason for you to come into something real big and real long was rolling around this? You know what I'm saying?
We go ahead and let
it was
keep
dangerous.
Cooking. No. Oh no.
All right.
You don't have a warrant. You don't have probable cause. Well, went all the way up to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, yes, they can barge in under this limited, what they call the emergency aid exception. Now, basically, the court said, if the cops have an objectively reasonable basis to enter, and that basis has to be somebody is injured or somebody's going to be injured, right? Then they get to barge in and they can do away with all the paperwork and the checks and balances that we've put in place for centuries.
So I fear for my life. I fear for someone else's life. I have concerns. I hold my wellness check questions for the end, but we're going to let them keep cooking. But yeah, I fear for my life. I fear for someone else's life. I fear for their life. All potential reasons for this to occur.
And try to save somebody. The problem is, I don't know, sometimes this stuff gets abused. So I hope this doesn't get abused like all the other exceptions get abused.
That's what I'm talking about.
The United
like no
States
knock
Supreme
warrants.
Court.
Same thing.
Same thing. So my thing is, I'm going to give an example. Yeah. So Rocco said, yeah, agree. So my concern is wellness checks, right? Like I believe, if I'm not mistaken, drop some drip in the chat if I'm wrong. Anyone can call for someone to help a wellness check.
All right.
So that means
Jim Jones got a hangnail. We got to go in there and stat. We got to go in there and save her. Her hangnail is hanging.
And
in there.
The kicker is when they tear your house up to get in, they don't even got to fix it. So you got a broke door. Doors are not cheap. They be like, they don't even say my bad. They just, they good in here and just walk out. Like, bro.
Well, that brings us back to that whole Afro Man situation that we talked about not too long ago,
Oh
right?
man, let me see if I can
Where
find
he
that.
made
Man, listen,
that
we could do a
song
whole
in order
episode
to,
on Afro Man, boy.
yeah, in rural Ohio, where they kicked in his door and everything under false pretenses. So really, it's shoring up the false pretenses where they stated that he kidnapped somebody and all this kind of stuff. So he turned around and made a song with his freedom of speech about how the officer was eyeing his lemon pound cake when they broke down the door, and he said one of the sheriffs was a SOB. And after that, the song went a little viral, and that's the money that he used to pay for the door that they broke down that they didn't pay for. In which Rocco says, dun, 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 dun. Oh, wrong one. He said they should pay for it, which makes sense.
Yeah, they should pay for it. Yeah.
Right.
Afro
Yeah.
Man also smashed somebody's wife.
No,
For the police
it's
department,
his
too.
freedom of speech to say that he did.
I
or-
know, but it was like my guy was like, I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, for them to come in this home was wild. But yeah, this is definitely a good example of that. I believe they didn't even find anything illegal in his house, so
Yeah, but just to
no
bring it all the
probable
way,
cause even pull up in
Yeah.
his house.
right. So the Supreme Court says your home is where the Fourth Amendment is the strongest, right? Warrantless home searches are presumptively unreasonable unless narrow exceptions like emergencies or hot pursuit types of scenarios apply, right? Like you housing a fugitive and they know for sure that he's up in there type thing, or she's up in there. So extingent, we're gonna use some big college words, right? Extingent circumstances is just lawyer speak for someone's in danger. Evidence is about to be destroyed, or the subject is running inside right now. Like they know for sure homeboy baseball sliding up in there. So the cops, they don't get a free pass just because they say the word, supposedly, right? So this is where we have this whole situation happening. So a National Civic Survey found out that only 1 in 3 Americans could correctly answer basic questions about search and seizure. This is where it comes about knowing your rights. So this means that most people are winging it at the door. So we want to make sure that you go ahead and you understand your rights as we go forward. So for the lack of being boring, go ahead and hit it.
Oh, you talk. Well, that was it. That was the end of the video.
Oh, okay.
That was it. That was the end of the video.
Okay.
No, that's the end of the video. But at the end of the day, we're bringing this up. We're gonna go through this show quickly if we can, but just know that this is to inform you that this is what some changes or even clarification that has happened. Like, just know these are reasons they can pull up in your house, and they ain't fixing the door. They ain't fixing the door. They ain't fixing the wall. They ain't got to do none of that, which is crazy, y'all. So, speaking of people entering homes without an invitation, how about
it's the glow on the screen, the pulse of the night, Gem and Dame in the scene, breaking it right. What's the word? What's the play? We're keeping it fresh. Hard squad in the sway, drip harder than the rest.